Good morning. My name is Roberto Saldivar, and I will be the moderator of the discussion panel. The topic to be dealt with is the inclusion of inclusive education within the SEP in Mexico. Before going to the introduction of the panelists, I would like to define the problem that we will be discussing. Inclusive education is a concept that emphasizes the importance of providing equal opportunities for all students, regardless their abilities or disabilities. It is a model of education that seeks to create an environment that is welcoming, supportive, and accessible to all students. Mexico, like many other countries, faces numerous challenges in providing inclusive education for its students. The country has made significant progress in recent years, but there is still a lot of work to be done. Having already presented the situation, I will introduce our panelists. For our panelist number one is Ingrid, a psychologist with over 20 years of experience, graduated from Columbia University with specialization in the field of special needs. For the panelist number two is Valentina Melendez, school director at Escuela Secretaria Técnica número 33 en Nuevo León, with over 15 years of experience teaching in the Mexican public school system. And last but not least, Cristian Aparicio, data scientist for the National Commission for Continuous Improvement of Education, with 3 years of experience in monitoring and evaluating of strategies focused on school development plans at basic levels. Well, please, Cristian, please give us your posture according to the performance of the Secretary of Public Education regardless the inclusion of inclusivity.
Okay. In a consistent way, the SEP has acted and continues acting in a really poor way, facing the gap and the historical exclusion of several groups. After an educational reform was published at the beginning of 2019, establishing, among other things, universal and inclusive education, we have seen nothing more than attempts at solutions to specific problems in the same specific places. According to data obtained by the Commission, by 2020, there were approximately 2,100,000 people with disabilities between the ages of 5 and 17, considered within the gap of the school age range. So only 24% were covered by the educational system. It is understandable that the pandemic has influenced the implementation of the National Strategy for Educational Inclusion. However, the actions proposed were not adequately designed, and today there is no significant progress. A simple example of this is that only 28% of the schools at national level have adequate facilities and plans. Clearly, the percentage is frightening in rural areas.
Well, I think that's very sad to hear, especially with the rural areas that have like less opportunities to let their children to develop as good as it may be. Well, Valentina, please give us your posture regarding the topic.
Education professionals and directors need to pay close attention to the crucial problem of inclusivity. The Mexican government has attempted to take steps to enhance inclusion in their educational system, such as the 2016 inauguration of the Inclusive Education Program, which aimed to provide quality education for all students, including those with disabilities, indigenous children, and those from low-income families. However, there is still a long way to go to achieve full inclusivity in Mexican schools. Students from various social and cultural origins continue to experience discrimination and marginalization. For instance, because of their ethnicity or linguistic obstacles, indigenous children frequently face discrimination, and have limited access to education. Similar challenges are frequently faced by children with disabilities while trying to enter their schools and facilities for their education. They face different obstacles. As a director, I aim to encourage teachers to promote an inclusive culture in their classroom by making it a welcoming, inclusive space for all children. Public schools in Mexico are still facing this issue. The actions that has taken have not been enough to change this matter.
Well, as we mentioned before, I think that the kids in rural places are the most affected in regard to this problem. Well, Ingrid, can you give us your question?
Yes, thank you. Firstly, I would like to begin with a previous study. The UNICEF has exposed that approximately 9.5 of the kids and teenagers of our country have some sort of special need, making that percentage about 4 million children that need special attention and should be included in the public education system. Promoting inclusive education will overcome social exclusion and help the development of a series of discapacities that Mexican children suffer. During 2016, the Program for Educational Inclusion and Equity from the SED has benefited 177,100 students with disabilities, less than half of the population with special needs. Although a lot of research has been done about the topic focused by the SED, the number I just stated does not reflect all the studies done. New strategies should be implemented and action should be taken to favor equality in the classrooms.
Well, I think 10% at first does not sound like a large number, but if we put like that of 100 children, 10 have a problem, I think that's pretty something we need to improve. No? Well, thank you very much, panelists. Now I would like to invite the public to participate with questions for our panelists. Yep.
For the panelists here, we talk about a program for children to education. Okay, what is going to be your first step to develop more the English class in public schools, or what is going to be your first step to create this program?
This program is an existing program that started in 2016 by the SEP. However, what I was stating is that I don't feel like it's been enough to make a change actually in the public school system. Like I mentioned, I try to encourage those teachers around me to make an inclusive environment in their classrooms. However, this is not something that I can make nationally. This is why I was asking SEP to take action and actually make a change in this program starting in 2016 that's like 7 years ago. So we need something else to make this matter actually change.
Yes.
For panelists, what can we do as Comunidad Tech to help with this issue regarding, it's more of also like a social mobility problem. It's like related to it. What we can do to help these people that are like marginated or excluded to that extent, in your opinion?
Well, alright. We are facing like the problem at basic levels. So, as we are mentioned, I think the tech community can contribute with social service, but also with individual actions such as, first of all, you need to take and accept you have a lot of privilege that these people don't have. And you need to, how can I say that? You need to visualize that these people is part of your community and you need to take and contribute with them. Such as maybe try to implement some special programs in your area, or try to do some activities that the most of the people can do, so you can help.
Thank you.
what strategies do you think should be made or have already been made to help special needs kids improve or get more help? Have an easier way of learning?
Well, I think that it should not be like an easier way of learning because they obviously have special needs and need a special guidance and assistance. So I think that we should cater to those special needs but making it in an inclusive environment so they don't feel left out, but it shouldn't be made easier since they require it. And just what we are looking for is just to include them inside the classroom.
Well, thank you all for your questions. We'll now proceed to our conclusions of our speeches. So Ingrid, can you say your conclusion, please?
Yes, to synthesize everything we have said and where I stand about this topic of heavy importance, I think that school must be an instrument that provides equal opportunities for everyone, respecting the diversity and attending to the needs of each one, even with obstacles that may be presented, to have an overall more tolerating and inclusive classroom and country.
Thank you. Valentina, please.
Well, as we all know, inclusivity is still a critical issue in the Mexican public school system that needs action from staff and as well teachers. It is essential for us to promote a culture of inclusivity in our classrooms and advocate for it in your schools. Not one child needs to face lack of inclusivity in their classroom. It is up to us to create a safe environment for those around us.
Well, thank you. And finally, please, Chris.
Alright, to close my participation, it is realistic to propose scenarios with inclusive education if new strategies are defined that go beyond scholarships or budget increases, prioritizing accessibility barriers, teacher preparation, and educational methods adjusted to reality, as well as measures designed from an early age to overcome discrimination in classrooms. Every person deserves and should be treated respecting their individuality at all levels involved in the concept. Thanks.
Well, thank you all, and thank you panelists for your point of view, and thank you all for paying attention and participating.